All right, well, this is Apostle John Welty with Second Eighth Week Ministries, and today is April 24th, 2011, and I am coming to you from Walford, Iowa, where it is now 10 a.m., 10:02 a.m. actually, and we're going to be picking up where we left off last week in First Peter, and we're going to get here into chapter 2. So, with that, let's go ahead and begin. So, you remember from before, uh, Peter, who is an apostle of Jesus Christ, he identifies himself at the beginning of the epistle, doesn't he? Okay, and he is chief among the apostles, is sharing to those who have had the foundation of truth set within their heart, right? This is not the apostles' doctrine that he's sharing, okay, but he's sharing from the apostles' doctrine, isn't he? Okay, just as a doctor, all right, when they go to medical school, they learn a foundation knowledge, okay? It's a framework of knowledge and information that is necessary for them to function as doctors. Okay, but then in their careers, they will speak in that the terms and the language drawing from that foundation. Their thought process, okay, will reflect that foundation. Their thinking patterns will reflect that foundation. Okay, because they're going to draw from that knowledge base, okay, in order to make decisions and to to choose appropriate care in this sort of matter. Okay, so it's that knowledge is necessary. That framework of knowledge is necessary for them to function. Okay, and that knowledge had to be taught to them, doesn't it, in order for them to function as doctors. Okay, and they also have to therefore be tested and certified. Okay, to be approved that yes, you did receive an appropriate understanding of this knowledge, so that you're able to perform, function, on patients, right? Okay, well, it's the same thing with the priesthood. The knowledge which is necessary for our function as priests has to be learned, right? We have to be instructed in this knowledge. It provides a framework of knowledge, okay, which we draw upon as we function in the priesthood of Jesus Christ. Okay, we can't draw upon just any knowledge, okay, or our own private interpretation of things, all right, because what'll happen is we would then be like as an imposter, okay, it'd be like someone going out and playing doctor, right? Well, if you went in to a hospital with an emergency and you needed immediate care, and you find out that the guy that is wearing the white lab coat that you're talking to is just a guy that walked in off of the street, grabbed a coat, and is pretending to be a doctor, you'd be pretty upset, wouldn't you? Right? Okay, even if he had maybe read some medical journals and had a few words that he'd memorized and things like that, so that he could kind of even sound like a doctor, right? He doesn't have that understanding and that foundation knowledge, okay, in order to make the right decisions necessary to help you with your situation. Okay, well, it's the same thing with the blind leaders of the blind, as we were talking about here before the start of the assembly. Okay, those who want to go out and about and attempt to teach Christ to people who have not yet had the foundation of truth set within their hearts, okay, are putting other people in a great disadvantage, okay, because they're telling them that you can know God this way, all right, and yet what they're teaching them isn't God at all, right? They're setting their expectations in a great many different things, okay, which are apart from Christ, right? They're not teaching them as concerning the terms and the responsibilities, the terms and the conditions of the new covenant of Jesus Christ, right? So the people don't know what it is that God expects from them, and they don't know what to expect from God, right? And there can be no priesthood with that lack of knowledge, right? So they put the people at a great disadvantage because they are going to end up very frustrated with God or very frustrated with themselves. They're going to remain on the battlefield of the flesh, okay? Because your faith cannot be set upon the battlefield of faith, okay, apart from the sanctified things of the covenant. Well, if you don't know what those things are, then you're going to have to remain on the battlefield of the flesh, okay, upon which nobody can overcome. Right? There is no overcoming on the battlefield of the flesh. Right? It's nothing but vanity and vexation, saith the preacher. Right? Nothing but vanity and vexation. So there's no hope there. Well, that's Apostle Peter, okay, is sharing with those, right? And he's drawing from that foundation, and they're able to draw from that foundation and understand what it is that he's talking about. Okay, so it's no wonder today that people lacking that foundation will pick up the Bible, and they decide to read these scriptures. Okay, they will take these things into many different directions. Okay, another thing that they tend to do is attach spiritual significance to insignificant things. Okay, and then they fail to see the spiritual significance in those things which are significant. Okay, because they're not able to weigh the facts. All right, when that has to do with understanding. Okay, well, the grace of God is a form of communication. Okay, from God to man. Okay, the communication speaks of there carries knowledge, right? Okay, with communication, there's a sharing of knowledge and information. Well, grace has to do with the with knowledge and understanding and wisdom. Okay, wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. So the knowledge has to do with the facts. Okay, um, understanding has to do with being able to weigh those facts. Okay, and wisdom speaks of direction. Now, there's many people, okay, that are familiar with facts as concerning, okay, Jesus' earthly ministry, okay, his death and his resurrection, okay, and there's a great many people that are in agreement with those facts, okay. There's some that dispute these facts, and of course this around this time of year, and it gets a lot of coverage. Everybody gets the opportunity to get up on a soapbox on TV and share their thoughts, okay, about the facts. All right. However, those facts don't necessarily bring understanding, do they? Okay. They don't bring understanding, and without understanding, they also don't bring direction. Right? What are they directed by? Well, if you take those facts and they're directed by foolishness, okay, then you'll go off on many different bunny trails. Okay, vanity and vexation. Right? You'll just simply run around on the battlefield of the flesh. You'll get absolutely nowhere with that. Okay, so um, it's important as you're reading through these scriptures, okay, that you reflect upon the knowledge of the covenant. Okay, the same knowledge that Apostle Peter's drawing from, same knowledge that he is referencing. Okay, it's the same knowledge that we're reflecting upon, and the same knowledge that we meditate upon daily. Okay, this is the apostles' doctrine, and this doctrine and this knowledge, okay, is necessary in order for us to exercise our faith with understanding and to follow after the wisdom of the Spirit. Okay, because the Spirit will continue to confirm Christ and His knowledge and His tools as you continue to follow after Him. All right, this is the witness of God. God bears witness to Christ. Okay, this is not something that you have to uh, come up with on your own. All right, you don't have to look for a witness because God bears witness. All right, remember it was God that said, "This is my beloved Son, in whom I'm well pleased." Okay, or in other words, join yourself to Him. Okay, set your faith in Him. Now, let's go on here in 1 Peter chapter 2 then. All right, so beginning at verse 1, okay, he continues on from the previous chapter. He says, "Wherefore, laying aside all malice, all guile, all hypocrisies, and envies, and all evil speakings, um, as newborn babes, desire the sincere milk of the word, that you may grow thereby." Okay? Now, when he talks about, he begins this with wherefore, all right? All right. In other words, he's saying exercise your choices with this knowledge in mind. Okay. This this framework of knowledge, this knowledge which was necessary for you to function in the priesthood. Okay. This is what you're exercising your choices with. Remember, I said it's just like a doctor, right? They're making choices as to, the best course of action for your situation, right? Well, with the priesthood, we make choices of faith, don't we? Okay? We make choices of faith every single day. All right, and those choices of faith uh, result in the care of our souls, okay, the condition of our souls. Now remember, prior to coming into covenant, our souls were in a state of disrepair, weren't they? They were in need of salvaging, okay, which is what salvation has to do with, right? The salvaging of the soul. Okay, your soul was in a great state of disrepair prior to coming into covenant, right? Because your choices, which were directed by whatever it was, you following after your own heart, right? That whatever you chose to lay hold of, is that what you were trying to project with? That's what you were trying to exercise faith with. Okay, and you move from one thing to another, right? It brought the soul into a great condition of disrepair. Okay, it was as a house which has been burned with fire, right? It's just absolutely unrecognizable. Okay, God created the soul to reflect his own face, okay, to reflect Christ. Right? A house after a fire doesn't reflect anything but destruction, right? Well, this is the state of the soul. So there has to be restoration taking place here, right? Okay, salvaging is what the Lord does. We call it it's called regeneration. Okay, that's the word that the Lord assigned to this work. Okay, which is the operation of God within the soul. Okay, is regeneration of the soul. All right, so he says, wherefore exercise your choices with this knowledge in mind. Behold Christ in the eternal value of those things which are issued from above, and in contrast, consider the transient power of those things which spring from the soil. Be mindful of your new experience with the knowledge of Christ and your old experience prior to conversion. Okay? Be mindful of this new experience and your old experience, which is the same thing I was sharing here right before the assembly, right? Okay? Prior to coming into covenant, right, we were as blind led by the blind, right? We were as those who were wandering around a field, groping around as if we were blinded, right? Trying to find something. It'd be like playing Marco Polo, right? You know, blindfolded in a pool, and you see these kids just kind of wandering around the swimming pool in different directions, you know, trying to chase each other down without being able to see each other, right? Well, that's as it was with us trying to find God. Okay? And we saw that as a journey, and we tried to attach spiritual significance to that journey, seeking God, okay, apart from His truth, apart from the knowledge of the covenant, apart from the apostles' doctrine, and apart from the priesthood, was somehow something that was worthwhile, that was a worthy endeavor. Okay, because there was others who also saw that as a worthy endeavor and applauded, okay, that aspiration. Okay, we aspired to know God. Okay, we aspired to seek after truth. Okay, but we lack truth. We lack the knowledge of God. All right, there is no spiritual significance in that journey. Okay, that is an endless journey of vanity and vexation. Okay, it's spiritually insignificant. Okay, it is the receiving of the baptism of the Holy Spirit. Okay, which is witnessed with the evidence of tongues. Okay, that's of spiritual significance. Okay, that marks the point of your sanctification. It is the study of the apostles' doctrine, which is of significance. Okay, this is where you're receiving the whole stones of the altar of Christ, and you're setting these whole stones, which you're receiving from God through His stewardship, okay, within your heart. Right? As you're receiving that knowledge and setting these stones within your heart, you're building the altar of Christ for your function in the spiritual priesthood. Okay, this receiving of knowledge is of spiritual significance. Okay, because it's through this that your faith is now being directed into Christ. Your hope and your expectation is being set within Christ. Okay, and you're learning the boundaries that God set within the covenant in order to govern the activity of your faith. Okay, that your faith would be sanctified by Christ. It is Christ who sanctifies our faith. Right? Therefore, your faith must remain in Christ, because without Christ, right, your faith would be unsanctified. It would not be faith at all. Okay, it would be reprobate before God, and it would be refused by Him, and He would take offense by that. And why would God be offended? Because God provided Christ for our faith. So if your faith is joined to anything other than Christ, it is an offense to God. Okay, very simple.